All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about. We had our AEW Dynamite preview. Go ahead and check that video back out. We have our Thursday Night Wrestling review. We jump into the Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, National Wrestling Alliance, basically anything other than WWE, because WWE constantly, it's trending constantly. But sometimes, I like focusing on the little guy. I know there's some viewers over here that ask questions about the NWA, that ask questions about TNA and Ring of Honor. So you never want to leave those guys out. So, obviously we're a wrestling fandom. We're a family together. And then we moved on to our third segment. We talked about WWE superstars wanting to make that jump to TNA wrestling, and I think ultimately it'd be a great idea. But we're gonna move on to our Eric's World Cup, the greatest tag teams. I have my Sweet 16. Can't wait to share it with you guys. Hope you guys are excited as I am. If you guys like the list, let me know. But ultimately, if you don't, let me know in the chat. So obviously, of course, comes with the list of any type of media, any type of YouTuber, any type of wrestling podcaster. There's going to be a little biased here. Okay, so I got my first team. We're going to talk about the Midnight Rockers. Love the Midnight Rockers. 1,010%. Huge Shawn Michaels fan. Triple H, Shawn Michaels. Two wrestlers that's on my Mount Rushmore. Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. They're high flying. They were very charismatic, and they were fun to watch. They definitely made tag team a lot fun to watch. All right, next we have the Rock and Roll Express with Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, the NWA. They won the NWA tag team titles 9 times. Definitely one of those historical factors. Love to kind of add a couple of wrestlers, a couple of tag team tandems from the 80s, from the 70s, from the 90s, and stuff like that. So that's another team. Another team that we have Matt and Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Boys. Basically invented the ladder match. They invented it with Edge and Christian and the Dudley Boys, the TLC match. And honestly, what they did for WWF back in 2000, they revived the tag team division. Because at first it was just like, tag team matches. Yeah, it was cool and all. But as soon as the Hardy Boys kind of took the scene there, as soon as they came out with like Michael Hayes and stuff like that, they were kind of able to, create this tag team division that none of us of the professional wrestling, kind of circuit really kind of expected. We didn't really expect these two brothers coming from Carolina to put on such a maneuvers, and their tandem. The best thing about these guys, and I know this is going to sound cliche, is their brothers, their chemistry, the way that they're able to pull on maneuvers. Like you would just be like, dude, how the hell did the other one knew that they're going to do that or set up that match or set up that move? Like we didn't really know that, and that's something that the Hardy Boys did really, really well. Moving on, so we have the Hart Foundation. Want to mostly focus on Bret the Hitman Hart and Jim the Anvil Hart. Obviously, they were amazing. Their tag team chemistry as well, their technical wrestling, and just their overall experience. Some of the reasons why wrestlers loved fighting Bret Hart and Owen Hart was not just because, oh, they're Harts, I'm going to get a lot of likes, or well, back in the day you didn't really have social media. Be like, oh, I'm going to get a lot of people paying attention to my matchups because I'm fighting the Hart Foundation. And that's not the truth. Most of the time, 95% of the time, people fought these guys, Bret, the Hitman Hart, and Owen Hart, because of their capabilities inside the ring. They took care of other wrestlers. You didn't have to worry about them botching any moves. You didn't have to worry about them screwing up promos or anything like that. These guys were professionals to a T, and that's the reason why they are on my list for one of the top, tag teams, ever in WWE professional wrestling. Next, we have one of my favorites. We have the Legion of Doom, Hawk, and Animal. Your ideal power tag team, kind of meets an arsenal of aerial assassin attacks. Loved Animal, loved Hawk. Definitely think they were kind of, before their time in terms of professional wrestling. If I had to make kind of, and I might seem a little far-fetched about this, and you guys can definitely criticize me all you want in the chat. I kind of compare these guys to the way that the Street Profits are. I compare Hawk to a high flyer, to a charismatic Montez Ford, I compare Animal to a powerhouse of D'Angelo Dawkins who can occasionally hit that Arsenal attack. You see D'Angelo Dawkins going through the ropes. You see him doing a flying senton over the top rope to the outside to attack. So I see a lot of these guys, and if you pay attention to the Street Profits, you have a move where they put them up on their you put the Street Profits put them up on their shoulders, and they kind of imitate how Animal and Hawk would do it. So that's the reason why they're on my list. And I'm rapidly running out of time. I'm sorry. Next we have the New Day. New Day, honestly, probably the greatest thing in WWE tag team division. Besides a tag team that I'm going to mention a little later. But they've had the success, and the best thing about these guys is that WWE knows that these guys are so great together that we cannot split them apart. Usually there's some bonehead. Usually there's some dumb guy in the creative office is like, hey, let's push Big E's single career and have him turn his back on Kofi. And Xavier was, no, we don't got to do that. No, we don't got to do that at all. That would be bad for, not just Big E, but just the three superstars. And another good thing about the New Day that I really honestly respect is that these guys could probably make it to the singles competition. Yeah, they can make it in the singles division like Kofi Kingston, winning the WWE championship, Kofi Mania, like Big E, winning the WWE championship. And it's just like, it just makes sense. It's something that is hugely, it's aspiring. It's aspiring. I definitely love the New Day. Don't ever break the New Day up. I personally, as a wrestling fan, will quit WWE. I'll sign petitions. I'll go outside and quit my job, and I'll hold signs outside WWE. Boycott the WWE. No, I'm just kidding. I got kids. I got to make money. I got kids, dude. I'm just kidding. No. Moving on. So, yeah. So we have Edge and Christian. Edge and Christian, definitely some of the best Canadian wrestlers that's ever kind of touched God's green earth. You have Jinder Mahal Hart, obviously the Hart Foundation, Owen Hart, Davey Boy Smith, and Bret Hart. But these guys were good. These guys were great. These guys had an amazing tag team chemistry. They started, from the bottom. They started with the Brood. They're a bunch of crazy vampire guys. But they were, like I said, they're one of the pride of the praises of the Canadian tag teams. Well, finally in bracket one, and we are so much running out of time. I don't want to mention. But we got to mention the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, they're international. The reason why they're on this list, and they will probably go further than you guys expected, but they've been on Ring of Honor. They've been a part of New Japan Wrestling. They're, totally kicking ass in AEW right now. And they've been a part of many other more wrestling promotions. And the best thing about it, and this is my bias kind of kicking in, they are from Rancho Cucamonga, California, about 45 minutes from where I'm at. So, gotta respect, those guys right there. So, yeah, hope you guys, that was just the first bracket. That was just the first bracket. Rapidly running out of time. I know my man Emran has his GSMC soccer podcast after this. So I know some of you soccer fans are watching this right now. They're like, dude, I don't care about wrestling. So, gonna have to cut it short. But, before, I kind of lead this last segment. I just want to remind you guys that on Monday we will kind of touch on. No, tomorrow we will touch on who is a part of bracket two, and I will remind you, just briefly of bracket one. So let's go ahead and jump on into our fifth and final segment. Sorry, I apologize for that. Fifth and final segment. We're going to talk about Thursday Superstar Spotlight. We're going to briefly talk about Andre the Giant. So hey, don't go anywhere.